Chapter 3. How to get a listing for a probate property from the Executor. There are many different methods and opinions on how to secure a probate listing. In some cases, it comes down to the most comfortable strategy for you to implement. I will offer several methods that have all worked in the past. But as with any other process, you will decide which method is best for you. Methods of contact. Let's assume that you have received your first lead sheets from a probate lead service, and you are ready to contact the executors. You will receive an address for the executor and a phone number, if available. So, how do you plan on making contact? Most probate gurus recommend that you send a snail mail letter to the executor offering your services. You do not know how the executor is related to the deceased, unless the last name of the deceased is Kowalski, as is the last name of the executor. The odds are pretty good that the executor is a relative in this case. Even with making that assumption, do you want your introductory letter to lead off with, "Sorry for your loss"? Above all else, you are a business professional. So, we suggest representing yourself in this manner. Your letter should be short and to the point. Here is an example of one. Dear Mr. or Ms. and last name, I hope this letter finds you well. I understand that you are acting as executor for the estate of Ms. Catherine Gable of 2424 South Kennedy Boulevard, South Park, Illinois, 60132. My name is, and I am a licensed probate specialist and real estate broker with the Adams Agency, servicing the area of probate property. Unlike your everyday real estate agent, I have years of experience representing executors of probate estates who, in most cases, are dealing with this task for the very first time. When it comes to probate real estate, an executor needs much more than the services of a basic real estate agent. The executor may need assistance with liquidating personal belongings, property cleanup, ongoing property maintenance, advice on the options available for probate properties, and much more. I realize that you may be dealing with many other issues. When you are ready, don't hesitate to contact me, and I will be happy to either meet with you or discuss my services in greater detail by phone or email. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully yours, your name and contact information. Of course, there are many variations of such a letter and will be part of your drip campaign. The point is, until you find out the emotional status of the executor, you need to approach them with a concise yet non-specific letter requesting a meeting. We recently saw a letter that an investor was utilizing. Because the investor did not have the name or contact information of the executor, he sent the letter to the home of the deceased, assuming that sooner or later the executor would get the letter when going through mail searching of bills and claims. The letter began, quote, "Please accept my deepest condolences on your recent loss." Then the letter does a 180 and continues with, quote, "I'm in a position to pay cash for the property. I can close in 30 days. We were surprised there weren't a few, quote, "But wait, there's more," or, quote, "If you act now." This doesn't give you a license to be a plaid jacket wearing used car salesman because you offer your condolences. We strongly recommend sending a very professional letter reflecting your years of experience and education. After sending your first contact letter, you have a few options. Do you just wait and hope the executor calls you or emails you? You could, but you won't get many listings this way. You need to be persistent and consistent without being bothersome. Always have a reason for your contact. For example, quote, "Hi, Mr. So-and-so. I just wanted to get in touch with you to see if there were any questions you might have about the probate property process. Do you need the number of an auction house or estate sale broker? If so, please let me know. I look forward to talking with you. Some successful probate agents have sent links in their snail mail to articles about probate methods and procedures that may help the executor. Based on experience, I know that most executors are not ready to list the property for 60 to 90 days after the deceased's passing. In some cases, if there is much personal property to liquidate, or if the estate is being contested, the time frame may be 6 months or longer. With this in mind, don't be discouraged if you do not hear back from the executor immediately. Keep sending your letters to the executor offering reasons why they should contact you. If the executor is court-appointed or an attorney given a power of attorney by the deceased to act on their behalf, pick up the phone and give them a call. A probate lead service may not always be able to provide executor phone numbers, but an attorney will be listed in a phone directory or can be found on the Internet. Attorneys have little to no emotion with the deceased, so cut to the chase and see if they can utilize your services. If they ask for more information, refer them to your website and send a letter as well. Some probate agents will create a trifold brochure that they will include with their second or third letter to the executor. This brochure is professionally designed and very tasteful. It simply outlines the services available, testimonials, your credentials, and your call to action. Few real estate agents will have a professionally designed and printed brochure specifically for probate properties. Should you ever call the executor of a probate estate who is family? If you have never heard back from your mailing efforts and it's been 90 days or more since the deceased's passing, some agents would make the call if they have the executor's phone number. Some would assume the executor is not interested and move on to the next lead. We have heard some agents calling and saying, quote, "I'm sorry to bother you, but did you just call me? My phone rang, but I didn't catch the number before it disconnected." The person on the other end will usually ask who you are. Once you state who you are, they will either say how they have been meaning to call you, or they already have a real estate agent, or will say they are not interested and hang up. At least you know where you stand in any of the three outcomes. 90 days is a long time. Dealing with the loss of a loved one can take many years. In most cases, their passing stays with you for the rest of your life, but 90 days after the final interment is about when the executor of surviving family is trying to move on and settle the estate. Using your own judgment, if you feel that calling is inappropriate, then don't make the call. If you think your intentions are just and respectful, then make the call. Persistence and consistency. Earlier, we mentioned a drip campaign that includes an autoresponder email automatically sent to a person who opts into a website. Still, in this case, it is a snail mail campaign that you need to follow to the letter, pun intended. Most marketing campaigns fail due to a lack of execution. Professional business people think they should get a tremendous response if they send one piece of mail or one email. Then, when they receive a very minimal reaction, they think the effort was wasted and give up on the campaign, claiming lack of results as their reasoning. Think about the messages you receive every day and how often most are repeated. Some consumers will receive an email from Macy's every day of the year. Sales on women's shoes, jewelry, luggage, bedding, etc. bombard these consumers' computers, smartphones, and tablets. It might not be until day 234 when the email from Macy's offers 25% off on a Keurig coffee maker, that a consumer takes action and makes a purchase. But until this time, Macy's remained in contact with the consumer every day, and sometimes even twice a day. The public sees thousands of advertisements each day. Some are so subliminal, people don't even realize their message is impacting their decision-making. As a real estate professional, you need to cut through the clutter and noise to ensure that your message is received and processed. It would be best if you had an assortment of letters that you will send to the executor who has not responded to your last contact attempt. The initial letter presented earlier in this chapter is only the first letter in a series of call-to-action letters. We suggest that a letter be sent out in months 1, 3, 5, 7, and 12. Thus, in month 1, you would send your initial contact letter. If you receive no response from this letter, you should send another letter in month 3. This letter might be less formal or may offer some free and helpful information for the executor. If no response is received from the executor, the next letter in the series is sent in month 5. This letter may be handwritten to show a more personal touch. At the very least, the envelope should be addressed by hand. You repeat the letter sending process until month 12. You send a letter summarizing your effort to contact and your assumption that services are no longer required or under consideration. The real estate agents that follow this formula secure more listing agreements than those who do not. This is a very simple process that is non-confrontational and easy to implement. Most everyone uses an electronic calendar or CSM program or a Franklin planner, etc. these days to keep their busy lives on track. Enter every task in the proper month so you have a reminder to send the next letters in the series. Of course, it should go without saying that you do not send the next letter if the executor responds to you prior to your scheduling mailing date. If you use an auto-direct mail software program, you will need to monitor future tasks no longer required if contact from the executor would occur. If you do nothing else but send these letters, you are doing more than 99% of the agents you are competing against for listings. This is because most agents do not even know about probate properties, and very few know how to obtain information about the executors. Realize that a 12-month schedule of letters can be a daunting task. In the middle of winter, when the first letter was mailed to the executor, you were extremely engaged. But 5 to 7 months later, you are taking trips with your family and not thinking about the Johnson estate in the middle of summer. An effortless way to remember to send these letters is to think of them as a bill. You pay your bills every month without fail, so just think of these letters to be just as important. Most CSM software offers to schedule emails, so you can use it to remind you to mail out snail mail. Market your professional probate skills. Acquiring lead lists is just one of the ways you can secure probate property listings, as mentioned earlier. Referrals from other professional sources will also help you establish yourself as a probate specialist. How do you get these professionals to refer you? By marketing yourself and your probate skills to the professionals that can help you the most. First, identify to whom you wish to market and develop a marketing plan to implement your image campaign. No different than an automobile manufacturer advertising their newest model on billboards and television without any specific information except their logo and web address. They leave the pricing and sale promotions up to their dealer network. The obvious professional service provider choices for your image exposure campaigns would be attorneys, funeral homes, florists, cemeteries, crematoriums, nursing homes, pastors, etc. You would be best served to physically visit these providers to introduce yourself, present your marketing materials, and establish a personal connection. How you present your services is just as important, if not more so, than the actual services themselves. Professional representation, especially to a hospice or nursing home, is extremely important. Remember, you are not asking one of the nurses on staff to call you when the older man in room 343 passes on. You are simply making the administrator aware of your services in case a patient or family asks them if they would know who could handle the property listing. The professionals you are contacting will pass along your information to the executor or the appropriate party. Funeral homes are often asked for information about estate handling from the person arranging the funeral, who in some cases may not be the executor of the estate. Most funeral directors have a database of referral services, and you should be added as one as well. Also, keep in mind that your general image marketing will generate other listing or buyer agency agreements, not just executor referrals. Consider the widow who suddenly finds herself alone in a 3,200 square foot home that she wishes to sell due to too many memories. She is not the executor, but she is the estate heir. As all real estate brokers know, people move for a reason: a death in the family, an illness, a job loss, a birth, etc. No one wakes up one day and says, "I think I'll sell the house and move somewhere else." There is always a reason for selling and purchasing property over and above for investment purposes. By tapping into the right network of referral professionals, you can significantly enhance your probate listing opportunities. Probate marketing materials. Your marketing materials for probate-specific services should be professional and not overly flashy or boisterous. If you follow the advertising methods and style of the referral source you are targeting, you will usually be in the right wheelhouse. Of course, there are always the ambulance-chasing attorneys who you do not want to imitate, but for the most part, following the presentation of a brochure, letterhead, business card, website, etc., of one of the targeted professional service providers will help you establish the right professional image required as a probate real estate specialist.